Okay, so it's week 9 and it's time that we start talking about your presentation. You've all done first drafts, and so that's going to continue with you revising, getting feedback from other people, but your presentation. Okay, so if you think about it, there's 2 parts to your presentation. There's the slides and there's you. Okay, and so the first thing we're going to talk about is slides. Now, when it comes to actually grading your presentation, there's kind of 5 things that are going to be looked at. Firstly, there's your organization. So, I'm looking for, do you have an introduction with an overview and motivation? Are your ideas well developed through the talk? Do you keep to the time of 20 minutes? Do you have a conclusion, an appropriate wrap-up conclusion to your talk? Then, of course, there's the mathematics in your talk. So as we've said, it's got to be at an appropriate level. So that's part of that. Your math has to be free of errors. And, what kind of examples do you provide? Are you showing the math to us? The other important thing besides error-free is clarity. Okay, so definitions, good definitions, appropriate place and time for that. Precision, so that's good, and sort of well-structured arguments that an audience can follow. The slides just themselves, whether there's an appropriate amount of information on each slide. We want the content of the slide to support your talk rather than compete with it. A really common mistake is just try and put too much onto your slide, and so people are reading the slide rather than listening to you. So you've got to get that really nice balance. Your typesetting is good, and graphics are always good in a talk to help illustrate what's happening. And then finally, your actual delivery. So, are you making eye contact? The biggest mistake people make is going way too fast. Math needs thought to chew over, so you need an appropriate pace. And also we're looking for like smoothness of delivery. You've really got to show that you're in control of the material. Okay, and you show these 5 things in your slides and you talking. So with the slides, they're directly going to be looked at just in themselves, but also you want your slides to have clarity, error-free, well organized. Okay, so the first exercise, presentation exercise, is just going to be a slide editing exercise. So you're not going to be giving a talk. You're just going to be given a set of dud slides and told to make them better. This is very much like the first assignment, which was remember the Pythagoras theorem assignment. We had to edit that. Same thing, it's the Pythagoras theorem slides that you need to edit. So if you look at Blackboard here, you see in week 9, we've got 2 talks for you to look at, a good one and a bad one. Good slides and bad slides, okay? So the first one is not so great talk about the Pythagorean theorem. That's a talk given by Dr. Vazana. I actually think it's hilarious. but you're supposed to look at this and think about things you're not supposed to do in both delivery and in the slides. And so your exercise then is to look at the slides and figure out how to make them better. So the other thing this week is we're going to be starting looking at Beamer. The second sort of video I'll set out is something more about, just more explaining about Beamer. But if you look at Blackboard, underneath the not so great about the Pythagorean theorem, there's the resources. So there is the tex file. So this is an example of a Beamer. And so this is the thing you're going to be editing and giving me next week. As I said, on Thursday, we'll look more closely at actually doing Beamer. But the first thing you should be doing is actually looking at the slides, which is right here. Here's the look of the Pythagorean theorem. And there's various things wrong with this. Bad diagrams, either over-explained or under-explained math. And yeah, and wonky introduction, for example. So these are things you're going to fix up. And as I said here, there are some resources to do it. There's a couple of pictures there that you can use, or you can create your own pictures using Paint or whatever. And that's contrasted with this talk, Lagrange's theorem, which is a nice use of slides and a nice talk. And so the secret to doing a well-organized mathematics, anything, whether it's a paper or a presentation, is doing an outline. So for example, I gave an outline that I saw for this talk. This is how I thought that the talk was organized. And so you should be doing something similar to help you plan whatever you're doing. So I recommend, after you look at the talk, look at the slides, think about actually what you want to say. Think about, what is happening here with Pythagoras' theorem. You can use Pythagoras' theorems for lots of things. So try and figure out what the use of Pythagoras' theorem here is for this talk. Write an outline, start editing the files first on paper. Then Thursday, I'll show you how to actually do things. And so next Tuesday is when the assignment is due. Yeah, and the rest is Beamer resources. And as I said, I'll explain that more on Thursday. So, okay. Hope everyone's doing well. Cheers.